What's good, y'all? DevonTai here, and I told y'all we were going to get 2 uploads in one, right? You going to get that video from before, and you going to get this video right now. Let's get right into what this video is about. I kind of low-key agree with Moist Critical in the whole debate of weapons. Before we even get into that specific movie, I want to say that I watched it. I think it is a very good movie. Before we even get into my opinions, in personal opinion, I'm not a horror fanatic, but I do watch my horror movies from time to time. I would definitely give it a good 7.5, maybe 8 out of 10. The expectation of what I went in to see is not the expectation that I got out of it, and that's why I lean more to a 7.5. I went into the movie expecting a horror movie. There were really no horror elements at all in the movie besides the aunt jump scaring you a couple of times. We're gonna obviously get into spoilers now, so if you haven't watched Weapons for whatever reason, go watch it, because I'm not I'm not gonna sacrifice you know, not getting spoiled. I'm gonna just speak my mind. Like I said, the only jump scares there really was the aunt jump scaring you from like 3 to 4 different scenes. And if you don't like blood, I mean, then that kind of, you know, also helps in terms of scares, because if you have like a little blood, then this movie really is gonna do it for you. For me, I was expecting a lot more horror elements into it. What we got was kind of a lot of comedic elements. There are a lot of moments that are tense, but there's a lot of moments where it doesn't really feel like the horror landed. For example, this is where a lot of people disagree with Moist Critical, but I kind of agree with him low-key. I think the moment where the person runs out with the scissors, now I'm gonna be fair on this, I didn't fully pay attention to the scene because I was kind of checking out of the movie, like in and out. But she runs up with the scissors, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a tense moment or whatever. Then she disappears, and then I laughed a little bit. I'm like, oh, okay, what happened, right? I'm waiting to see what's gonna happen. And then they get in the car, and I'm like, oh, the scene is tense. Okay, I'm jump scared. Something scary is about to happen. Then she just clips her hair and keeps it pushing. All the things that lead up to the final point in the movie, I get it. It's exposition. All of that lead up to get to the final point felt not only rushed, because there were so many point of views you had to explain. I'm watching this person's POV, then I jump to this person's POV, and then I jump to this person's POV, and it jumps back in time, and it just feels all over the place. The one thing that got me like not confused, but I understood like what they were trying to do, was the scene where they're at the gas station, they're filling up, you know, the main character, she's filling up her car, and one of the other parents who's also investigating why all the children disappeared comes up to her, and you know, they're having a little back and forth because people feel like she's the cause of why all the children disappeared, even though she wasn't. And I think that's stupid. She's just a teacher. Why would the entire town think that? But you know, whatever, movie logic, right? Not gonna divulge into that because people in real life probably would be that stupid. The principal of the school runs up and he looks zombified. He runs up, starts attacking her and him, right? And so I'm like, oh, this is tense. This is crazy. What's about to happen? Then boom, instantly in the middle of the action, they cut it off to go to his point of view to explain why he turned zombified, which I understand it because each thing leads up to the end of the movie. However, it breaks the pacing. That's what I was trying to say. It breaks the pacing when we're in the middle of the tenseness, and then you instantly just jump to another POV. You'll get the tense moment and then it instantly gets cut off because they have to exposition why this happened, instead of just having it all explained. Like the scene with the principal is literally like kind of right after the main character in the principal talked, I believe. Now I could be wrong about this, but the main character in the principal talked, and I believe she got kicked out of the school or something like that. Right after that is kind of where that took place, where he got turned, like, well, not turned zombified, but the exposition dump that they did is explained literally right after that. But instead of them just continuing the scene, like continuing the scene to show the principal going through all of this and then, you know, explaining all that. They just cut it off right in the middle of the action. Literally just boom, right in the middle of the action where you're like, oh, tense, gotta pay attention. Boom, you're back into another exposition dump, and you just don't, for me at least, for me, I fell out of paying attention to the movie because of that. Like, every point of view mattered to the end scene, but every point of view broke me out of the action. For me, this is just for me. I'm not saying that you may have done this. Like, you may have loved it. You may have been like, oh my God, like 1,700 point of views in one time and all this stuff. This looks amazing, right? You may have loved that. For me, it broke me out of the immersion. Like, I was immersed, and then I get broke out of the immersion because now I have to be explained why he's zombified. To be honest, the principal has a very, 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 very small and minuscule role because he's only in the beginning scene where all the parents come together for the parent conference or whatever for why their children disappeared. He's in the scene helping her to the car. He's in another scene where he's telling her, hey, you can't work here no more for whatever reason, because I kind of checked out in that scene too. He plays such a minuscule role to where we didn't need to be cut off in the middle of the action when it could have just been explained and led up to that point, instead of just, hey, he's zombified out of nowhere, why is he zombified? And then another thing, like how I said, he plays a very small, minuscule role. When that scene happens, when you see him zombified and run up to them and start attacking them, for me, I didn't know who he was. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I knew who he was, but I didn't know who he was. I'm sitting there like, is that? Nah. Yeah, right? Like, that was my reaction. Instead of it being like, oh, that's the principal, like, I'm like, not the principal? I don't know. Then when you actually see the exposition dump, you're like, oh, that is the principal. The little kid, whatever is going on in his house, something has to do with why the children went missing. And, you know, they explain all that after the whole zombified scene. It leads up to everything. It explains why, you know, the aunt came to the house and then she zombified the parents because she does voodoo, and then she voodooed the kids because he got all of the name tags for the aunt and then gave it to her. I'm not gonna get into how all of the boxes had name tags and he took all the name tags off, and the teacher walked in on him and said, what are you doing? And doesn't realize there's no name tags on the boxes. Again, movie logic. Not knocking the movie for using movie logic. Like I said, I'm not a big horror fanatic, so when the aunt jump scares happened, I was kind of like, like, you know, like I was like, I jumped out of my seat. But for somebody who's like always watching horror movies or doesn't get scared easily, you're not gonna sit there and be like, you know it's coming. You know the jump scare is coming. You just have to brace yourself for whether you're gonna be scared or not. The thing that really got me too, and I think Moist Critical also mentioned this, the aunt jump scaring people really didn't do anything for me. I understand they had to tie everything together, but it felt just cheap jump scare-ish, because it's like, why is she jump scaring them? She's the one that's in control of everything. Got it. Why are they dreaming about her? They could be dreaming about Freddy Krueger. They could be dreaming about anybody, okay? Anybody could have stolen the children. Why specifically did it have to be the aunt? It could have been anybody. And I had the same question, like, why is this old lady a part of these jump scares? Who is she? And then we find out towards the end, and it's like, yeah, okay, understandable. She's the one that's doing it, but it doesn't make sense why the parents are dreaming about her. If it was the children and we were in the mindset of the kids, then that makes more sense. That makes more sense to be like, okay, they're dreaming about the person that kidnapped them. Makes sense. But for the parents to be dreaming about her, it doesn't make sense, because it's like, they don't know who she is. They've never met her before in their lives. The whole ending scenes where all of it is comedic. You have the tense scene with the female and the cop that she was having an affair with. He was cheating on his wife with the main character. They meet up because he's now zombified, because some local drug dealer took the cop to the house because he found out where all the missing kids were, wanted the prize, blah, 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 blah. Then he gets kidnapped too by the cop because he's zombified, and then he gets zombified. And now the main character and the father traced where the kids were and found out that they were in that house. They go to investigate the house. The main character finds the, zombified dude. They fight it out, duke it out, kills him. Then after that tense scene, the father of one of the kids, because none of the other parents seem to care to find the kids. Only the father and the main character seem to have any will in going to find their missing children. They're just letting the cops handle it, and the cops apparently never investigated the kid's house. That's covered in newspapers, by the way, but we'll get into that, right? So the drug dealer dude who's zombified comes up, attacks him, and then he flips him. And then he starts to walk towards the basement. Then he gets up and attacks him again, then flips him again. Then he runs up, tries to go to the basement, and then he runs up again, and then he flips him again. He's like, persistent, right? And then you laugh because you're like, what the heck? And then it happens like 2 more times, and it's like, all right, we get it. Get on with it. Like, it's not really scary because then at the end, right, with the aunt, she's about to kill the father and the main character, right? What happens is the kid, he's upstairs with his parents, and the parents are trying to break into the bathroom, and he basically gets all of the kids' hairs, ties it, because he learned from the aunt how to do the voodoo. So he, does the voodoo, breaks his twig, boom, all the kids start chasing after the aunt. I see where they're trying to go with it because it's more comedic than horror, because you can make a chase scene horror like World War Z or any other movie that has a scary chase scene within it, right? Like, you can make chase scenes scary. This one was not scary. It was legit like watching a Looney Tunes cartoon play out, which again, no shade to it. It's why I said the movie's not like a 9 or a 10 out of 10, I give it a 7.5 or maybe even an 8, but I'm leaning more to a 7.5. That whole scene, you're expecting some like scary moment to happen, and besides seeing the aunt get ripped apart by the kids, like I said, like besides that, that's it. It doesn't lead to the horror that I seen in the advertisements, because I work, okay? And so one of the things at work is while I'm driving, I see billboards. So I look at the billboards and I'm like, oh, what's coming out? What's going on in the world? Looking at the promotion for it and seeing one of the trailers, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a good horror. This is the one horror that I'm really like, okay, let me follow the trend, because people are really saying that this is the horror movie of the year, so let me go and watch it. To me, it doesn't feel like the horror of the year. It feels more like a thriller. I think that's a better way to describe this movie. It's not a horror, it's a thriller, because there's way too many comedic moments and way too many moments where the scene is tense and then the tenseness is broken, and then you only get like 3 to 4 cheap jump scares in this entire movie, and that's it. It's more of a thriller. I wouldn't have cared if it was a thriller, because a thriller would make more sense. I went in, it marketed being a horror. To me, it never felt like a horror, and there's nothing wrong with that. If that's how they would have marketed the movie, then I wouldn't have went in with the expectation that I was going to get scared. I didn't feel scared in this movie, and that comes from a person who genuinely does not like horror movies and gets scared at the cheapest jump scares, because even the aunt got me. Like, it got to the point where I'm like, I don't even need to look away from the screen anymore. Ain't nothing happening now. Like, it was over with. And the last thing I'll mention too is the parents, because besides, like I said, the main character, who is the teacher, the father, and that's really it, no one else seemed interested in finding the kids. This is movie logic, so I'm not knocking the movie for this, but this is the movie logic. They investigate the one kid who did not get kidnapped. The one kid didn't get kidnapped. All the other kids in the one classroom got kidnapped. One kid did not get kidnapped. They investigate him, and that's it. The lady goes to investigate. She finds that the house is covered in newspapers. Again, how nobody else has seen this or thought anything weird about it and thought the teacher was the problem. Again, movie logic. I don't think that if everyone got kidnapped by but one kid, the teacher, A, would be the focal point of the blame, which movie logic, and then 2, nobody would at least go to the house, or the cops would at least go to the house, see what's going on. Hey, just want to see why your kid didn't get kidnapped. Let me look around the house real quick. See, there's a whole bunch of newspapers up on the windows and not be concerned. I was saying the father is the only concerned one because all the other parents just at some point, like, I get it. The investigation was so long to the point where everybody just seemed to get over it. Like, they were just like, whatever. Our kids got kidnapped. I'm really over it. They have Ring doorbell cameras plastered through this neighborhood. The neighborhood's it's a big neighborhood, but not a big neighborhood. You know, like, it's not like they went to a whole different country and they can't be found. They got kidnapped to Cuba and now they gotta find them in Cuba. Like, no, they saw them leave on the Ring doorbell cameras, running towards the woods. And so you would think they may be kidnapped in the woods or something and they gotta search the woods. No, they're in the kid's house. And my point is, like, I think Moist Critical said this too. If you have all these Ring doorbell cameras, I am sure that the people who live around that house would have either A, seen or heard these kids go to this house. Because it wasn't just one kid ran to the house, and the next kid ran to the house, and the next kid ran. They all ran to the house at the same time. Nobody heard them, saw them, nothing doing this. Because we saw it in one of the scenes where the kid is standing outside with the aunt, and all the kids are just bum rushing into the house that are hypnotized, doing the whole crazy run, right? Nobody saw this. Nobody at Pitch Black and I heard this, saw this, reported this, or had this on their Ring doorbell cameras. I truly don't believe that most of the block had Ring doorbell cameras, but the only block where the kid lived, there were no Ring doorbell cameras. Or any cameras on the street in general, or somebody driving by, or anybody who would have seen like 50 to 30 kids just running into a house. 7.5 out of 10. I still think it's a great movie. I personally liked it. My friend went to watch it and he said he loved it. I loved it too. I just don't think it was marketed how it was supposed to be marketed. It was marketed as horror. I don't think it's that scary. I don't think it's that scary, but that's my opinion, not yours. So if your opinion is that it's scary, more power to you. I still think it's a good movie though, but I don't think it's horror of the year. I don't think it's horror of the year, but I like the movie nonetheless. I probably won't watch it again. It's not a movie where I'm like, bam, I'm gonna watch this again, like Sinners. I could watch Sinners again. I watched Sinners twice. Love Sinners. Great example horror. I still think Sinners is horror of the year, or maybe another horror movie that I haven't seen yet, but Sinners is well above this movie. I still think it's a good movie nonetheless. Like I said, I don't really agree with everyone going, this is horror of the year, this is the greatest thing to ever touch the cinemas. Like, I gotta disagree with that part of the hype. I don't think that it's a bad movie, because it's not. Like I said, I think it's a great movie, but I don't think it's this blockbuster, oh my god, you gotta go watch this now. That's my opinion though, not yours. So leave a comment down below about if you watched Weapons, and if you feel like Weapons was a great movie, or if you feel like it was horror of the year, and if you hated it or if you loved it. And I will see you guys in the next video that I make. DevonTai signing off.